What's going on, y'all? I am bringing in Eunice.
Hi. Ew.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, y'all? I am bringing in Eunice. I don't know why it's echoing again. Okay, so maybe it wasn't. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. It echoed for
You
a
can hear
second,
me?
but yeah.
Okay. If something messes up, then I'll have to cut that off. But how are you?
I'm doing good. I am tired because today was the day. I'm hot, probably because I'm like a little nervous, but I'm good. How are you doing?
Well, I'm the same. Like as far as a little nervous because it's always touchy. This is such a touchy subject.
Mm-hmm.
When you've had to live and go through um, some type of mental illness,
Yeah,
right? And
for sure.
um, hey, Erica. Erica said, "Hey, y'all. Do you have your? Can you see the comment units?
I can't. It says live. Oh,
You're freezing up.
oh, I see it.
You're going in and
Me?
out. Yeah, you're going in and
Uh, okay. Can you hear me
but I can
now?
hear you. But I'm just saying you're going in and out. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you. So first I wanted to thank you so much for being so bold and courageous um, to actually get on a live feed, and share your personal struggles
Mm-hmm.
um, of mental health. And you and I spoke so many times in the past about just about our mental health struggles and stuff. And I literally commend you for coming on live to share your story because I know that we're not the only ones who have had to go through some mental challenges.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was important that we get on here and we talk about it, given that it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is good. Did you have your drink? Because I fixed me some French vanilla latte.
It's definitely almost done,
Do you have?
but
Come on, wait. What does your cup say?
oh, good morning, Seattle. I have lipstick here. Good morning, Seattle. Yes, I got it
Oh,
in
it's so
Seattle.
so. Good morning, Seattle. Oh,
Yes.
because okay. So to you, is in the morning. You want to drink out of your morning cup,
I mean, it's a big cup, you know what I'm saying? So, and I needed a
dude.
lot of tea because I was like, wow, it's what is it? It's there's one that's like a relaxing type of tea, and the other one's like just for focus. So that's what it
Dude, I need some of that relaxing tea to be. I really need some relaxing tea, but I ain't gonna lie to you. This is latte, French vanilla latte, and I'm telling you, this is gonna have my stomach hurting. I'm
is.
just saying.
I've never had that before in my life. A latte.
Are you serious?
I've never had one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, Michelle, how's it going, love? I'm looking down here because my phone is here and I'm seeing comments and stuff. So, hey guys, those that are tuned in and are watching, please feel free to like comment, and also feel free to share. Oh, I need to take that off, by the way, um, because we're already on. So I'm just going to have that going through. Bam. So those that are tuned in and watching can be encouraged and inspired and know that you're not alone. So guys, before we even start, because I think Eunice and I are kind of feeling the same little feeling, like it's nervous, that nervous feeling. So, and that's for both of us. So I'm just going to start off with a prayer. So Father God, thank you, Lord Jesus, for giving us an opportunity, God, to um, just to make your name famous, giving us an opportunity to encourage someone, to inspire someone, to empower someone, to motivate someone. God, thank you. God, I pray for Eunice right now, God, that as she share her story, I pray that you would speak through her, that you would use her, God, because there are so many people that are battling this mental issue, mental health issue, and a lot of them are fighting alone. So God, I ask that you just speak through Eunice and use her, use me, and thank you for the platform. In Jesus' name, Amen.
Amen.
All
Amen.
right. Now, I don't know if you're going to do this or not, but and I'm hoping you will. But after we finish chopping it up and stuff, I would hope that you would sing for the peeps, because a lot of folks don't know that you can sing. Y'all, Eunice can sing.
Oh, that is
Can
very nice of you to say. You know, yeah, I can't say no. So,
and I want to share.
Maybe I'm supposed to say no. So no, I'll definitely do it. Hopefully, everyone can sing along with me.
So we're gonna chop it up a little bit, and then Eunice is. So you are okay to sing something, Eunice?
Yeah, I guess a little, because I don't have like the music and stuff. So I mean, I can, you know, dab.
Dude, I don't care if it's a verse and a chorus. I don't care if it's just a chorus. I want people out there to hear Eunice, because you have such a beautiful voice. And a lot of times when those that are struggling with mental health, we beat ourselves up a lot, because we always feel like we're not worthy and we're not enough. And oh, why should I sing? It don't, I mean, you know, we start doubting ourselves and questioning ourselves and stuff. And your voice is so beautiful. I loved, like, every time you would post a video on Instagram, I'm like, oh my God. And sometimes I would listen to it more than like 2 or 3 times, because your voice is so soothing. And I just want you to know that, to keep singing. And I don't want to get myself emotional, because, you know,
Thank you.
Anyhow, the first thing I want to ask you is, how did you recognize? No, when did you recognize, you know, your mental struggles?
Honestly, I recognized it a few years back. Looking at it, I can see where it showed up at different times in my life, but I didn't start looking into it or saying that, man, there's a lot going on in here, until a few years ago, even a couple of years ago, 2016 era. Yeah. So it was I don't know. I think it was just a whole bunch of life events that were going on, and I realized I was kind of losing my grip on things, and you know, I messed up in a way that caused me to have to think and, you know, figure out, how did I get here? So, and that's just what, you know, allowed me to think back and look and see where, you know, things happened in life. You know, it just causes you to be very introspective after something happens like that.
So would you say that even though you recognized it a few years ago, do you feel that you were actually struggling with that at a young age, growing up, and didn't recognize it, or didn't?
Sure. Yeah, for sure. So there's this new term I've heard, perfectly hidden depression. And I feel like that's kind of what it was. The way, you know, that I stayed busy, the way that I was always, you know, and I was an overachiever. You know, I'm always reaching for something. I would think that I'm not enough. I'm always trying to, you know, overcompensate, I guess, in certain ways, even if it was subtle and people didn't really know, or even I didn't know. You know, I can look back and see like, oh yeah, you know, because the only reason why I noticed anything was because all of those things got stripped or shaken up or shifted in some sort of way. And I realized I have so much validation coming from all these areas. I have so much security in all these areas, and they had to be shaken up for me to even realize, like, oh, you tripping. Like I you know, and I felt crazy a little bit. Like, so this is, it's almost like I get why people are just like, I don't know, do I seem crazy? Because it's like, how did I not see any of this? You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I am today, where it's just like, man. And then you have I wish I would have noticed it earlier and all of this, whatever. But yeah, I can definitely look back and see all of those different areas and where it showed up. And it's a struggle still, you know, just to recognize that, even though I'm aware of it now, it's better, a whole lot better. But it doesn't mean that it's completely gone. It doesn't mean I don't still struggle. I don't get triggered still, or I don't still have my breakdowns, because I do. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. And, you know, but even people that are successful struggle with mental health. You know, I know that you stated to me that you struggle with anxiety, depression, the insecurity issues, the fears and stuff. And I want to talk a little bit about that, because I'm pretty sure those that are tuned in either struggle with all 4 of those, some of those, or at least one of those. And this is why I like to talk about stuff like this, because we don't talk about it enough, especially minorities.
Yeah.
You know, there's something about we push that under the rug as well, because of how our upbringing, basically. We just don't talk about it. what made you like want to just say, you know what, I need to talk about this?
One, I would definitely say it's just, I think, how I was wired, because I can't, I've been that way since I was younger. I would say things, I would ask questions, and actually, that's kind of where me even feeling left out. We can get into that later. Even came from. I was just a little bit different, from my siblings or my family at that point. But yeah, just one I would say is just because I'm already that way, where it's like I can't just have the things harbored, which is why me not knowing that anything was going on was a surprise to me. It's like, well, I thought I talked about things. I didn't know it was still, something that was just kind of pushed back, and it was more so me operating out of a certain condition or mindset that I just had ingrained. And then now, I guess, or the second thing would just be, I needed help. You know what I'm saying? Like, it got to a point where I was just like, I don't know how to deal with this at all. I don't even know how to understand it, because usually when you think of mental illness or mental health in general, it's like, okay, there's an imbalance, there's a chemical imbalance. That's what people always talk about, which is fine because that's true. But depression, anxiety, all those things are a response. They're a response to, trauma. It's a response to something that you went through that, was uncomfortable. They're warning signals to us, and when we ignore them, then it becomes a buildup. And then, so I think I got to a point where it's like I could no longer cope with things the same way I used to be able to. Actually, that was said to me in a therapy session. She was like, "You just can't, you don't cope the same way." Because I was asking her, like, "Well, why now? Why now? Why couldn't I just figure this out before? Why didn't I know before?" And she's like, "We evolve and we grow, we go through things, and you just, as you evolve, you can't, handle things the same way you done the whole time you're prior to this moment right now." So I would say it was those two areas.
So you actually seeked help, seeing a therapist and on medication as well?
So it took me when I tell you it took me a long time to grasp I guess therapy. I was like, yes, therapy, everybody go do it, that's great. Me, however,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to get over this. Oh, this is something, it'll pass. You know what I'm saying? 5 years later, you know what I'm saying? Like, I kept making it seem as if like, this is something that I'm bigger than, that I can overcome, which I can in Jesus' name. But it's like, I was taking it into my own hands and thinking that it wouldn't last so long. So I kept kind of pushing it off. Or because I was vocal, with close friends, I'm like, okay, this is doing, I'm talking about it. It's not like I'm hoarding it in my mind. Like, I'm talking about it. But yeah, so it wasn't until 2019 that I saw a therapist for the first time. And I remember I reached out. I see Brittany Morris is on, and I even reached out to her because I had questions about that. I'm like, I talked to Richie, I talked to Heaven. I was trying to figure out, like, is this, because it's not something that even in an African Christian home that is talked about, that is like promoted. Not saying that it's bad, but it's not a thing that is used to. So yeah, even then, so with the medication piece, I was definitely prescribed medication. That is a struggle. That is still a struggle for me. And that it's hard, because I was like, okay, if I wasn't diagnosed with anything when I was younger, how is the medicine going to help me if this is stuff that I feel like, okay, I just have to learn to navigate and maneuver and learn how to live in this setting? It's more like, it seems like it's situational or seasonal or something, rather than something that I'll need, medication. But then, therapist or psychiatrist was like, I mean, it's for all, it doesn't have to be for the rest of your life. You can wean off these things. And even though she said that, I'm still asking questions like, yeah, but, I don't want to become dependent on anything. I don't want to, I do trust God, but I don't want this to be a thing where, oh, I'm not in a lighter mood or whatever, unless I take this, so. And it's still a struggle for me. So I took it very inconsistently for a while. I haven't, but I've also been talking to a psychiatrist and a therapist at the same time about medication. So for me, I think it's a little different, to where I'm not completely against it, but because I have so much question about if I should take it or not. I've been doing okay. I'm not afraid to now hit her up and say, okay, yeah, I've hit a low, but I haven't gotten there yet. So I think I'm kind of in this, like this right now, but I have them. I was prescribed them. But that is just me being honest. I just don't, it's a struggle for me to even continuously, because I fear getting so dependent on it. And is that an issue though? You know what I'm saying? Is being dependent on it a bad thing for people that have to take it all the time? I know people that have to take it all the time. And I think that's why, because I hear certain things. I see, where it's like, man, I haven't taken my meds yet. So, excuse me, I haven't taken my meds. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, okay, so you can't function without it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I used to hate when I had to take medication. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. When COVID came, I called my doctor and I was like, I'm having anxiety attacks again, panic attacks and stuff. And my anxiety was up the roof. Like at first I thought I was chill. I was good. Like, okay, I can go into the grocery store. I'm good. I'm cool. But then I think I started becoming overbearing in my home with my kids and my husband. And so I reached out to my doctor. Like you said, now being at a place knowing that it's okay to take medication, it's easier for me to call my doc up and go, I don't want to, but I think I need to. But I wing myself off, and you're not supposed to just get off of it, without letting informing your doctor. And I stopped taking it, and I shouldn't have. But for anxiety, I still struggle with anxiety a lot. Even having to get on live, what people don't realize is, yes, I think that we need to talk about real life issues, but I'm anxious every single time I have to get on here. And I just started this stuff. And I'm like freaking out. And so I'm like, I'm all over the place. My heart starts beating real fast and stuff. But I think it's okay to take medication. I think it's okay to see a therapist and definitely have a support system. But people who struggle with depression and anxiety, sometimes we're so afraid of being judged because people say that they're not going to judge you, but you are definitely judged. And I keep saying this over and over again. People in the church, they judge you, even though they say they're not like, oh, you can come talk to me about anything. Oh, I'm here, if you ever need a shoulder. But yet you're being judged. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so for us, we isolate ourselves. Mm-hmm. We feel like we're a burden to people. I don't know, like what were some of your symptoms, with your struggles and stuff when it comes to depression and anxiety?
So in the past, when I didn't really realize what it was, it's me doing everything. I was involved everywhere. So I didn't even have time to even think of anything. I was just always involved. I was a workoutaholic, and I'll get into that of why, but I just always had to be in my, best form, and nothing was ever shaking that up at all. Like I always had a routine, even though I didn't realize it. Like I would have never described myself as some sort of, personality A or whatever, the term is, but I really am. So I would say back then it was just me always being involved in things and chasing this, perfectionism. Now, because I was, learning about it and understanding and becoming more aware, it's definitely isolation. And you don't want it to be that way, but I would isolate myself because one, I used to be the person everyone came to. So now I felt like I felt like my words weren't worth anything. I didn't feel like people would come to me anymore. Sometimes I couldn't explain why I just wanted to isolate, and then even like going to events or something like that. We see all these memes or even just articles about, your social media running out, blah, 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 this and that. But it's real. It's very real because it would just be even if I'm at a place, I'll just go just outside by myself and just kind of, be, because it's just a lot. And I'm a people person, I love being around people. I love having people over. And so when I saw that change to where I wanted it, I just didn't have any urge or motivation to do it. I wanted to go to church, but I couldn't. I just didn't.
Right. And people don't understand that.
Yeah, it's very hard to explain. You just can't. I don't not want to. I'm here thinking about all the people I should reach out to, and yet my phone's just sitting there. It's easy for me to, be on Instagram or something and just, mindlessly whatever. And yeah, texts are coming in, but it's like I don't have the energy to even,
You don't want to talk to nobody. You push your loved ones away. And there are times that I know for myself, I've gotten on stage so many times depressed, not wanting to sing or anything like that. And I was fearful to even get on the platform because I knew that I was struggling. There were times that I got on stage, like knowing that I was not wanting to live and trying to drink stuff and go and lead worship and just be out of it. And people never know. You know what I'm saying? And or you can be in front of, you can be around your friends and stuff when you get that energy to be around your friends and you're good. But
Yeah.
then the moment you go back to your car by yourself, it's like everything goes back to here I go again.
Mm. Yeah.
Isolation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um, so this subject needs to, just like a lot of other subjects that we are like talking about now. I think mental health is so important, and it shouldn't be just a once a month kind of, I mean, once a year kind of thing for mental health awareness month. We need to talk about this all the time. Minorities need to step out, because mental illness is not a weakness. It took me a while to realize that, but I hid it for a long time.
Mhm.
I did, when I realized that, when I finally snapped, I was exposed.
Yeah.
And that was in 2016. And I remember, and that was when I was at Hope City, you know, and I would never forget. The subject is, it's really touchy, but I don't know if you and I talked about that. When that time that I went through my whole little struggle and ended up on Pastor Jeremy's couch, ended up on their couch and stuff. And they called paramedics, and it was like I was angry. I thought that I took enough medication to end my life. And my plan was to drive at that Kroger's parking lot, take the medication, and go to sleep and never wake up again. That's what I thought. And then fast forward, ended up at Pastor Jeremy's house, and um, I'm not going to get into all that. I want to know, let me see, because I wrote some stuff down because I wanted to make sure that I ask you questions that people can relate to.
Mm.
Let's see. And if anybody, for those that are watching, I can relate so hard. Zero motivation to go anywhere, even though you're longing to. Yes.
Yeah. That's for
Yes,
sure.
yes. That is so true.
Yeah.
Dude, you're right about that, love. I remember, I don't know if you know Sean Flowers, but I remember Sean she had a wedding shower. You remember Sean? Dude, she had a wedding shower. When I tell you I was so happy to be there, when I got there, it's like I was good. Nobody knew this. The minute I left out of Keisha's house and went to my car, I bust out crying. And all over again, I said, okay, I guess this is the night that I'm going to end my night again. And nobody knew that bull crap. You know what I'm saying? But who else can relate? That those that are watching, who else can relate? Of depression, of anxiety. Miss Sharon says it's chemical imbalance. Medication helps balance. Yep, you're right about that, Miss Sharon. And hi, Miss Sharon, by the way. You were phenomenal last night.
She was. She was cracking me up.
Right?
But I was learning a lot. Where does the imbalance come from, though? Like, I get it when people say it's an imbalance, or if it's, I guess, from a younger age. But when you're older, what is causing these imbalance? You know what I mean? Like, I guess I don't understand that much to understand, like, to know that it's an imbalance. Is it an imbalance because I went through something and now is that what the imbalance is? And so it's going to come back up. And when you take the medicine, like, does it keep it there? Or when you're off it, then it drops back down? You know, that's where it gets confusing, where, okay, what's the time limit on this? Or, you know, it's that's what I struggle with trying to understand. Sorry.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see the questions or people commenting on here. I'm just going through because I probably can't see everything.
Yeah, I can see them on the side. I had my
Christiana said, like, desperate for relationship, but isolating. Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
It's very true.
You know, so as far as insecurities, what are some of your insecurities that you've struggled with that can go with the anxiety and depression that made you so, like, down on yourself, and that was so that brought you into a deeper depression? What are some insecurities and fears that you struggle with?
Oh, I feel like that's loaded. I guess what brought me deeper was, okay, let me start. So a few years back, the only reason why I even started getting into even trying to figure myself out was because I ended up being in a position where I betrayed my friend, in a way that I was like, how the heck me? You know, I kept even saying that, like, I should know better. I should know better. And there was just so much shame that went along with that. You know, even if it wasn't intentional or whatever. It's like, you know, at the end of the day, that it was a fact, it happened, it was I. So, and I couldn't handle that because now the person who everyone, you know, loved, you know, I was there for everybody. Everyone had, you know, good things to say and stuff like that. I just felt like I had completely just failed everything. You know, to where I even question, is this even too big for God to forgive? You know, stuff like that. So my guilt for me is like, I know we have at Hope City, we have the Mind Monsters series. Guilt for me is a big one, and it's always been. So it started with guilt, and it started with, and there was a good one. There's a good guilt and there's bad guilt, but I think I let it on to where I then just felt unworthy, you know, to say much, you know, because why would you want to listen to me? I messed up, you know what I'm saying? Like I would go through that. And then, and I didn't realize, even though I'm finding out more and more about myself, I'm becoming more and more shut down because I think you then just start to compare, you know, like, I don't know, this is not the life that I thought that I didn't expect myself to do that. So I got down in guilt, and then I didn't trust the words that were coming out of my mouth. Do I even really believe this? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, like I would preach to the choir about all these things, and then I'm the person that messed it all up, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then it became that. So me losing that confidence, you know, I lost the confidence in, you know, speaking. I love to make videos and make people laugh. I stopped doing that. Even singing, you know, I made a whole page and I was like, about to embark on this thing. And then I didn't, you know, I slowly stopped because then I stopped believing that I was even good at singing. I'm like, is this even for me to do? And you don't sit there and think like, you know, I'm going to feel bad about this today or whatever. You don't even know that that's happening. I didn't even realize, like, you know, you just start questioning yourself because your mind, that's all you have. You're by yourself. Your mind is isolated, so you can go and run rampant in your thoughts. So I'm questioning, you know, my ability here and here and here. I'm saying all of my inability instead of, you know, why I should do something. And then you just end up being paralyzed by, you know, fear. And then you just, you know, you don't do anything. And that's kind of what happened. I kind of shut down on me, you know, being confident in the voice that I had, you know, and I'm not talking about just singing, just in general, you know, I used to have confidence there, and I just felt like all of that kind of shut down. So that's when I got deeper in, you know, looking at that, and, you know, even the fact of dealing with depression by itself and anxiety, that made me more depressed. I was like, because when is it going to end? You know?
It can be life-threatening.
Because I was like, when am I going to stop? When am I going to be over it? You know, when am I going to get back to my regular self? That was the biggest thing. I was like, you know, my mom asked me a question. She used to ask, you know, what happened to Eunice, the smiley face Eunice, you know, who would make everybody this and that. And this was a long time ago. This is when I was like early 20s. I'm 27 now. And I remember because I used to just, and that's where, and I didn't even know I was isolating at that point. I stopped hanging out with the family when I'd go home. I would just kind of be in my room. And so even now I can see those same things, you know, back then. And so I'm sitting here, even though I feel like I've made progress, but I'm just like, but I'm back to the same type of behavior. You know what I'm saying? Like telling my friends like, yeah, you know, I feel a lot better, but no, I'm, you know, back in sometimes, you know, and so that kind of makes it more so. I definitely have lashes on, so I really tried to hold the tears in.
And the fact, first of all, I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm too clumsy to put an eyelash on, so I'm not even trying. Look, I was be as comfortable as possible, and I just wanted us to just chat. But Eunice, I remember you telling me that one of your insecurities. You told me to hold on. What did you just do?
No, you're fine. Oh, nothing. I look the same.
What did you do the eyelash, dude?
They fell. Okay, so anyways, because I know it's gonna happen, and they're gonna just be like this, and I'm like, no. So we're just gonna take them off.
Wait. Okay. Y'all. Hey, but I love it. That's what I'm talking about. Just real. Just go to the side and pull that eyelash off. Just pull them eyelashes off, bro. Wow. Why did you put that on? I remember our conversation that we had. Natalie, thank you. You're both. Thank you so much, love. We love you, Sarah. Love you, Sarah.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even. I keep forgetting to look at
them. Erica said that was slick.
I'm glad no one was like, "Well, it looks different."
That is hilarious, bro. I remember you telling me, and because we shared a lot when we were at, being at Hope City and stuff, and then just chatting on the phone as well. And I remember you shared with me that one of your insecurities was because of the color of your skin.
Yes, I was going to get into
Share a little
that.
bit about that. Yeah, share a little bit about that.
And so, yeah, I mentioned, the insecurities of today because the skin one, that's probably what's kind of perpetuated a lot of, all these other things out of it. I mean, so that happened. Okay. Yes, I am very dark. I'm dark skinned. And my family, well, thank you. Thank you. Well, my family is also dark. We're all from Ghana. They're not as dark as I am. So honestly, even before I get there, I got to start with the family because that's where things started.
Right.
With me feeling left out. So, I have two sisters. I'm the middle child. I've just always kind of been different, I guess, as far as just personality wise. My sisters and my older sister gravitated towards my younger sister more so. And I had no idea why for the longest time. We're great now because we actually had reconciliation. So that's great. But we were always good. But at that time growing up, I felt like I was by myself. I was the one getting in trouble. I was definitely getting in trouble. So part of it was my fault. I was the trouble, the problem child. And so I already kind of felt, and I was just, even when I didn't do things, I would get in trouble, because they didn't believe me or something like that. So I always felt, like I just kind of wasn't seen. And I don't think at that age you notice that all the time. Yeah, you can see like you're left out. But if I'm looking back, I'm just like, no, I think you just kind of adjust to it. So I found a lot of, security in friendships and everything, because that was my whatever. So I would feel left out already. Then, I don't know when it started, but I know I went to camp. And people would make fun of me when it would get dark. It was actually, a Christian camp, and they were like, "Oh, Eunice, where'd you go?" And I would laugh, but then I noticed, y'all aren't saying this to Grace. Y'all are saying it to my older sister. You're saying it to me only. Why? Unless she did, and I just never heard it. But I was like, you're saying this to me only, and it didn't become funny anymore. It wasn't. It was never funny actually, but I couldn't hide it anymore. There was the fake laugh I could do maybe one or two times, but then after that, I had to literally just hold it, go cry somewhere, and come back. And I remember I dealt with that. I went to predominantly white, middle school, high school. We're from Canada, for God's sake. So, we were in Ontario. I grew up there, and then Buffalo, New York, and it was always like I was always kind of out of place, if that makes sense. But yeah, middle school, high school came around, and that's where it came like to really just show where I was almost sought out every day and I was made fun of for being dark. What can I say to that? You know what I'm saying? I can't change it unless I want to bleach my skin. I can't change that about myself. And so I didn't know how to handle it. So I would come home, I would tell my parents, I said, hey, well, I didn't say it, but I was like, people are making fun of me and, it hurts. I would cry and, I got don't mind them, you know what I'm saying? And I never spoke about it again to my parents, and not because they didn't care. I know they cared, but it was more so like I don't think they knew the magnitude of how it affected me. When I tell you every day, even when I moved to Texas in 2008, and I think for maybe first day of school, definitely I got stuff from this, and she was a dark girl herself. Maybe she wasn't as dark as me, but I got it from her. So I didn't fit in, with my white friends because even though I do, they're my friends, but there's still something different. Like there are experiences that I had that they didn't, just by default. And I didn't fit here amongst people that look like me. I'm not there either. So that affected me. It was every day. I was made fun of.
Well,
the whole auditorium. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I remember graduation, 12th grade, we were having like a slideshow, and there's like 774 students in the class, and there was a picture of me that was bad quality on the screen. And when I tell you, the whole auditorium, that's all I heard. The whole auditorium just laugh, and my friends next to me laughing, and I had to act like that didn't kill me on the inside. And I remember after that, we had a class, and I had my head down the whole entire time. And the only reason anyone knew anything was wrong was because I had a friend named Jose, who was like, Eunice, are you okay? And I was like, I'm not, but I will be. And then he was like, it's because of that picture. And I was like, wow. And I felt almost embarrassed because I didn't want him to know what it was that really hurt me, because I think that's what it was. Stuff would happen. And because it didn't really get received when I was younger, like what was really going on, like I didn't have room to just feel or, to express how I felt about something. I was used to having to have my moment and then get back on it. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I'm not, but I will be. But yet my head was down like this. You know what I'm saying? Like on my desk. I was scared to go to college, not because of academia, not because of, making friends or anything. I never had a problem with that. I was scared because I'm like, am I going to have to deal with this again? You know what I mean? Like, and I would avoid people. I would not wear black. I'm wearing black now. I used to never wear black. I used to imagine, I used to never wear black just because and it was rough. And that's why I always worked. Like, I remember I would do 2-a-days and stuff like that, because I'm like, if I get made fun of here, I cannot give anyone any opportunity to make fun of me in any other type of way. So I think that helped. And I actually didn't come across that like revelation or ideology until like a couple years ago, where I was like, I think I was like that because I needed to be good in everything else, because this thing was so bad for me for so long. You know what I mean? It was. And so, yeah, I kept myself fit. I kept myself, I was smart. I was, I worked hard for things and stuff like that. And I think already I had that perfectionist type of, personality because of, my parents, which I can get to that later. But this added to it. This made it more so. And that was the biggest thing that I've had to overcome. And, now it's a great thing. People are celebrating dark skin. And, and that's great. But when it happened, I was like, if this wasn't the case, would I be as confident as I am now? Like, because I'm like, or is this just because the society accepts it? Or is it because I actually grew within myself to know that, no, you are loved and you are good and you are enough the way you are. And so I still think about that sometimes. I'm like, I wonder, because there's a lot of mindset or just even routine or habits that I had that were birthed out of just me experiencing that, and that I have to unlearn even, so yeah.
Can I stop you for a moment real quick? I do want to share this with you though. And by the way, Sarah said you were gorgeous, and Erica, we've always talked about, man, this girl's skin color, she's gorgeous. And I honestly, Eunice, like, I really want to tell you that you are gorgeous, that you are beautiful, and you a beautiful soul inside and out. And no matter what, whenever you start feeling like that, for people, like when we struggle with that stuff, we got to continue to look in the mirror and continue to speak life over ourselves, because those who struggle with the whole depression and anxiety, the minute we start thinking all those negative thoughts about us, we go right back to where we started.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
Yeah. And so, dude, I love you. And I thank you for being so bold and courageous to share your story. It's needed. And I really want them to hear you sing. I really want them to hear you sing. Yo, I'm telling you, Eunice has such a beautiful voice. I don't care if it's just a verse. I don't care if it's a chorus and a verse. But can you please sing something?
Okay. Wow. Great.
I think I'm gonna have people doing this too, like singing. I think that'd be cool to have people sing on here, like chopping it up with them and stuff. But I want people to hear you sing. Can you please just share? Just bless us all.
Run to the Father, fall into grace. I'm done with the hiding, no reason to wait. My soul needs a surgeon. I think I said that wrong. My soul needs a friend, so I run to the Father again and again and again and again. Oh, oh, oh,
Come on.
Oh, again and again. Oh, oh, I haven't mastered the crying and singing part yet. God dang.
Ma'am, you just
My voice
you can't
crackers
just
are like, I can't do
look. Okay, look. Okay, Natalie said you better sing, girl.
I put a lot of pressure on myself there too. It's hard. Like when people do all that, and I'm like, okay, now I got to measure up. And when you don't feel like you do it, then you put pressure on yourself. And I'm learning to release, because it's not. First of all, it's not about me. That's not ever the point. And I got to learn to trust God in those things and God in those moments where it's like, yeah, it's not about that skill and ability, but it's about what is being said, what is being felt.
Yeah.
Man,
I miss worshiping with you, dude. I remember when there were times that we sang a few times on the platform together, and I remember it was like you were in just like so shy or like nervous to be up there, like it was all over you. What was that fear?
Honestly, because people thought I had a good voice. And I'm like, yeah, but I can sit there and record 60, 70, 80 times and then pick the perfect one. And then I was like, I sound so much better when I'm by myself, and I was on, being on stage.
I'm gonna stop.
I was like, when I'm on stage, I'm like, I put the pressure on myself, who cares? But it's like, I put the pressure because I'm like, now I have to sound good. If people are saying these things, I'm like, yeah, but when I sing here, as opposed to when I sing here, I even notice the difference. Like I put pressure on myself, so then you get nervous, and then it doesn't come out as freely as you want it to be, and that's why it wasn't because I didn't want to just break or at least help invite the God's spirit in, so I can help break chains, because that's what worship is for me, and because that's what it did for me. I didn't have any words, like I've always loved to write and sing, but sometimes I just couldn't, and that's what worship did. When I was going through all those times, that's what it did. I didn't say anything. All I did was cry. And it's like, worship does break chains, and that's what I wanted. And I was like, and that's been my prayer. I was like, God, I need you to take whatever is here and bring it out, because, it's crippling. I'm doing it to myself, but I don't know how to not sometimes, and I've definitely grown because of, you and other people that have helped me, and become, and that, and I'm really appreciative of that, because I don't think I ever would have gotten out of that if I wasn't forced in some way, or people didn't believe in me when I didn't believe in myself, because I didn't, and having to lead, or having to, even though I wanted to, but I couldn't. So yeah, before I go on tangents.
Wow. No, listen, I'm first of all, I'm just like listening, and I'm taking all this in, because I really think that you're amazing. I'm not just saying this because we're live. I tell you this even when you and I are just talking on the phone, that I think you're amazing. I used to always say that when being at Hope City, and I don't want you to stop singing. And I'm pretty sure those that know you don't want you to stop singing, and those who don't know you need to hear you sing. Like, God has given you a voice, and you know what? He loves when we sing to him. So just start there to get back into that rhythm of singing again, and start posting videos again. We need to hear Eunice. So start posting, even if it's just that 59-second Instagram, we need to hear.
Yes, I'm famous for those.
I have one more question. And I'm wondering if anybody else can answer this question, because I just, out of bonus, have you ever tried to commit suicide, or thought about it?
Thought about it for sure. Try? No. Kind of. So I tried to escape what I was feeling. I remember I had was that 2012, maybe 2012. And it was just Tylenol, but I took like, first of all, I probably didn't even do it right. So I took like, I think, sorry. I took like, it's not funny. I took like 6, I think, as opposed to like what, 2, I don't know. And I was so frustrated. I was so emotionally overwhelmed that day. I was in an emotionally abusive relationship. And I remember that day, I also was in a draining friendship, and all of those emotions, because of, you know, being an empath or whatever, me trying to please, like it came over me, and I was like, I cannot do this. And so I was in there, all the lights were off, it was dark, and I'm just looking at this and some old bottle from my leg, and I was just like, I'm just gonna take this. And I didn't want to ever die. And I wrote about this when every time I hear about suicide, because I've always had a strong thing for that. Even before I ever had thoughts of my own, I just think it's so sad because I've had so many people that I've known that have died at a young age. There's literally one from my old high school, like every year, it seems like, every couple of years. And so I wanted to escape what I was feeling. The reality of what I was going through was just a lot. And me now knowing that, or, you know, being aware of that, I'm like, people don't necessarily want to die. It's literally, and I don't care what anyone says, I think it's literally just a cry for some help. And they think that, you know, escaping or dying is just the final relief that they get, you know, they need. And I'm like, people don't, they just want to escape. And I wanted to escape. So yeah, my childish attempt, I guess, but yeah, I've definitely thought about it. Even to this day, I have my moments where I think it's just better, you know, where I'm just like, man, I just wish I just wasn't here, you know, like I'll think about it. I mean, like, I have student loans, but I'm just like, I'm sure those will just go away. Like, it gets that granular, you know, where I'm just, and I mean, I'm just being honest, like, where I'm just thinking about the fact that, but you know, I don't go as deep anymore. It's definitely improved where, but it's just a spiral sometimes, you know, you just have your moments where you spiral in a thought, and it's just like, man, maybe if I wasn't here, it'd be better. I wouldn't have to worry about these things, or I wouldn't have to have all these issues and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely a real thought that I don't think people talk about enough, even in the Christian space, if you will. That there are people dealing with this, you know, we just always give it to God and pray and all that stuff. And that, yes, but what does that mean? You know, I always just ask, what does that really mean? Because I thought I did. I thought I prayed. So yeah. Actually, that's a question for you.
Huh?
I said, actually, that's a question for you. How would you tell someone, you know, what does that mean when someone says, give it to God, or, you know, it's stuff like, you know, those, I don't want to call them cliches, but cliches that we hear in the church about, like, when it comes to these things that are just so overwhelming on us, and we're just like, yeah, just pray about it. But what does that mean to somebody, you know?
That drives me absolutely insane. Like, okay, so just because I have a personal relationship with Jesus, but just because I'm going through the whole mental thing, depression and anxiety, doesn't mean, I mean, you can't tell somebody who's struggling with depression, you can't just throw Jesus in their face like that. Sometimes you just need to be quiet and just listen. You know what I mean? And that's what, there are people who do that in the church, you know. Not gonna lie, I remember my dad saying that before, like, just, you know, y'all supposed to be praying. You don't even see a therapist. You know what I mean? Like, just pray, give it to Jesus. But I don't know how to really explain that. But I will say, for me, I wanted to leave. There were many times, yes, I wanted to escape. I wanted to leave. And that night back in 2016, when everything took place, I thought that I took enough medication, because I took a lot. The paramedic said my blood pressure was sky high, that I took a lot of medication, but it wasn't enough to kill me. And when I heard him say that, there was an anger that came all over me, because I'm like, here I go again. But thank God that I had a support system back then. And I remember when my friend walked me into the mental clinic. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that was the first time I realized that, man, I need help. I really need help. And that's really like an emotional kind of thing that, you know. So anyhow, but I will say this, a song was birthed out of that brokenness. And I purposely wore this because we are strong and we're something beautiful, right? Look what I wore, dude. Y'all see that? This is my sweater. It's called Something Beautiful. That's the song I wrote when I was in my whole depression thing. I wrote Something Beautiful, and because we are something beautiful. And to anyone that's watching or that will watch later, you are something beautiful. Depression, mental illness, it's not a weakness. And and you're not alone. There are so many people that that's battling this illness, but I will tell you that it's important to seek help. Um, it's okay to see a therapist. It's okay to take medication. And I just want to encourage y'all, man. And Eunice, I want to thank you um, for being so brave and bold to share your story. I really, really do. And I mean, I would love for you to sing again, you know. Um,
You just love, I mean, but you know what? I appreciate that because I think you've always been this way with me where you just make me do something and I'm just like, and I don't want to.
we can we can, how about we do this? How about we like close with the prayer and then you just take us out like you end it with the song. Even if it's just a verse of chorus. Can you do that? Can you hear me? You froze? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Because you're freezing up on my end.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why.
No, why you apologize? I got nothing to do with it. It's just
you're right. I don't know. But
y'all, thank you guys for just tuning in. It definitely means a lot for you guys to just join us in this combo. And it's appreciated because, and when you talk about this more, I don't think I'm gonna stop talking about real life issues. I think I'm gonna purposely do this Just Been MJ thing to just really have real conversations that probably people don't really talk about, but unfiltered. You know what I mean? So I want to thank y'all. And before I close out in prayer, I'm going to tell y'all. So tune in tomorrow morning as I'm doing along with some community worship leaders for tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock for mental health, just to, give hope and to just worship tomorrow morning. So I'm hoping y'all can tune in for that. I think it's going to be great. I got my boy Charles, who's gonna, he's a poet, but his poetry is so dope. But anyhow, because I'm just rambling on myself, I want to thank y'all. And I'm going to I can't believe I'm like, let's just pray. Let me just pray. Okay. So Father God, we thank you for this opportunity, God. And Lord, before we close this out, I pray for every wounded soul, for every broken heart, God. I pray that you would give them peace, that you would wrap your loving arms around those who feel lonely, afraid, forgotten, lost. Remind them who they are in you, Jesus. At the end of the day, God, it's all about you. God, continue to use us, continue to stir up the gift, God, inside of Eunice, Lord Jesus, inside of all of us, Lord. And we thank you for every skill, every talent, every gift that you blessed us with. We're nothing without you. We would never be nothing without you. And even in those moments where we feel like we're lonely, we know that you're still there. Your presence is still there and that we're never alone. So we thank you again. We bless you. We honor you. You rock. You super dope, God. We love you. And Eunice is going to close us out with singing a verse, a chorus, or whatever it may be. Come on, Eunice.
One thing I desire, only this I see, is to dwell, dwell, dwell here forever. This will be my posture, laying at your feet. Oh, just to dwell, dwell, dwell here forever. Dearest Father, closest friend, most beautiful, most beautiful. Dearest Father, you're my closest friend. You're so beautiful, so beautiful. There are no words, and there is nothing left. Our love, it sings to you. Oh, and there are no words, there's nothing left. Our love, it sings to you. Oh, when there were no words and there was nothing left, my heart, it longed for new. Oh, when there were no words and there was absolutely nothing left, your love, it longed for me. Oh,
wow.
Dearest Father,
Yeah.
closest friend, so beautiful, so beautiful.
Wow.
Well, amen. Thank you for having me. Wow.
Man, no,
That song,
you.
man.
Wow. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. You are beautiful. I love you. I am so blessed to call you friend, seriously. So thank you so much
I am
for
blessed.
doing this.
Thank you. I love you too.
And,
Thank you so much.
and we love y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock for live worship. Peace out.
Guys.